people, you know who it is. It is time for the Darkeye and Tiffany show, the web edition of the show. We back.
New episode, y'all. Hello.
Yeah, you know, we had what you want to call it, Tiff? What we had?
We've had some adventures in internet broadcast land. We've had some technical challenges.
Yeah, we had to transition and move to a new location.
We have.
So y'all can see it looks a little different, but we are settled in a new location. We are part of the 742 North community now. So
yes, we are. So we have a home.
Yeah, we have a home here at the community at 742. But for those of you who don't know who I am Mr. Darkeye.
And I am Tiffany.
Yes, and thank y'all so much for continuing to rock out with us and come to the page and see the videos and the content.
You guys you're watching and sharing the video, and we really appreciate it because it's fun to do it, and we certainly appreciate the response.
Oh yeah, definitely appreciate y'all, and shout out to all our regulars too. You know who you are.
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. You're the real ones of the Darkeye and Tiffany show, and we definitely appreciate y'all. One day we're gonna be able to do some kind of appreciation day or something.
We're gonna have some events.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You know, back when the world, you know, is no longer on fire.
Yeah.
We will have some events.
Absolutely. What's that song? We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been. Who sung that?
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel. I used to love that song.
It's a great song.
Yeah, it's real
fun
catchy.
Song. Very catchy. You can't get it out of your. Yeah, it was a complete earworm.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did not start the fire.
No, we didn't start it.
Yeah, we didn't. We didn't.
But we're trying to figure out how to put it out.
Well, we're going to spin on it.
Yeah, that's all we got right now.
That's all we can do.
We ain't got no water, man.
We ain't got a fire hose.
We ain't got no fire hose. We ain't got an extinguisher. We don't have the tools.
We just got to stop, drop, and roll until this thing is over, right?
That's it. That's
all we can do.
Know, I'm telling you, the world is definitely on fire. But I feel like we headed in a good direction.
We are.
You know, so the inauguration happened.
The inauguration was amazing, but can I just say, the way Wednesday morning started out with your former president getting on Marine One, flying out to Andrews Air Force Base, getting off Marine One to Don't Stop Believing by Journey. Don't stop believing. Remember that?
Oh yeah, okay.
So this fool gets off Marine One to Journey playing Don't Stop Believing. Walks up to this sad little makeshift stage. His friends and family and staffers, former staffers, gathered in a tiny little crowd, diehard supporters to the end. He makes the dumbest speech I have ever heard in my life.
Not the dumbest.
Dumbest. But check this out. He gets up there to, I believe they played All Hail the Chief when he got up on the little stand. But when he gets off and he walks around, Ivanka and Tiffany are crying.
Oh, okay.
Son's looking dumb and vacant as ever. He gets on Air Force One to, you guessed it, YMCA.
Wow.
Yeah.
The village people?
The village people.
The village people.
Because he's been playing it at rallies. He basically has ruined YMCA for the world, forever. He's been playing at his rallies. So, and honestly, that was just, I watched it twice. I watched it live, and then I came home after work and I watched it again before I went to sleep because I was just like, this is so sad. And he looked so small and sad. And he flew on down to Florida. I ain't heard a peep from him since myself. I don't know.
Well, that's what they say when people, that's what everybody go to retire, right? They go to Florida.
Florida.
What is it about Florida?
It's hot. There's no taxes. It's warm. No income taxes. Yeah, Arizona too. I guess I don't know if they have income taxes, but a lot of people go out there to retire. I don't know.
I don't know neither. But it's just interesting that everybody goes to Florida to retire.
Yes.
But Yeah, everybody's been having a lot to say about Donald Trump being gone. Macklemore put out a record.
Did he?
Yeah, what's the name of that? It's a freestyle. Oh man, I don't remember the name of it, but it was pretty dope. I mean, you know, he was on there.
I bet.
Some bars. He had some bars for Trump. He did, you know what I mean? But
I need to hear Macklemore's Trump bars. This is hilarious. That sounds great.
Yeah, he had some stuff in there.
That's good.
But yeah, he was coming hard. He was coming for Trump. he really was. I was like, whoa, okay.
What is it about white rappers and Trump? You know, M dissed him so hard.
Yeah, you know, I commend that though, because I think that the fact that they know by doing that, a lot of people going to stop listening to their music or whatever.
That's right.
But even Macklemore put it in the music. He was just like, Eminem said it too.
Eminem said it too.
He was like, I don't care about losing the fans. Y'all gonna get this work though.
Yep. I love it.
Y'all gonna get this work though. So
good. And you know, and honestly, when it comes to fascism, racism, all the isms, people that look like the people in power, i.e. white people, need to speak up. They need to speak up. So it's always good.
White people, you know, definitely need to use their voices and speak up.
They need to,
because their privilege kind of works.
Yeah.
You know, in that way, in that fashion too, or whatever.
Yeah. So it's good to use that privilege in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a comedian, I don't know who this comedian was, but Martin Lawrence shared his video. He was talking about he grew up in a neighborhood that was black and white. He was like, you don't know, he didn't have that white privilege. He was like, he was like, we didn't have sweaters. He was like, you caught me with 2 tank tops on.
That's funny.
Then he was like, and then his black friends was like, man, I know about all the stuff that y'all did to us, man. I know you was a part of that. He was like, dude, why would I do all that stuff to you and move right next door?
That's funny.
I was laughing. I was really laughing.
That's good.
I mean, you know, but he had some great jokes. He was just kind of putting it out there saying that.
Yeah, and I mean, we have to be able to laugh about it. It's a complex issue, you know, and our white friends, you know, obviously they didn't own slaves personally and stuff, and we understand that. It's just that we're not talking about hurt feelings when we're talking about racism. We're actually talking about, you know, systems that have been put in place to give white people an advantage that you know, that the rest of us don't have, and the more we get to equal, the more it seems to bother certain white people that, you know what I mean. The more we just, you know, kind of tip that scale a little bit more equal, they think they're losing something, when really we're just, everybody else is trying to catch up. But you know, we have a long way to go.
I think that's the biggest fear, the equality.
The equality.
The biggest fear is equality. But
it feels like oppression.
Though. Yeah, it's crazy though. Them. You know, it's like for you to fear that. You know, it's like you ain't losing nothing though. You know what I'm saying? That's the part. Like, you're not losing anything.
They're not, and it's easy for us to say that, but the country is changing demographically, culturally. You know, and this has been said by many people much more learned on the subject than me, but culturally, they've lost the culture, because everything, I mean, honestly, you remember, you are just barely a baby, but at the end of the 70s, because I was a little kid, at the end of the 70s, there was a massive backlash against disco music, right? Now, let me remind you, disco was created largely by black and brown and gay folks, okay, as a movement. And it just caught on and went mainstream, went worldwide. But at the end of the 70s, there was a push by white Americans to burn disco records, to end disco is over. Disco is still going strong. But and where's rock and roll? But I love both. I love both, but I'm just saying. But yeah, so there was that big push, and you keep on the news at night, you know, they went to stadiums to burn disco records, you know. My point is that the white male view of things really drove the culture, you know. and it writ large the American culture. It no longer does. Like, they could burn as many hip hop records as they want to. It probably wouldn't make the news, you know?
It did one time. With,
did it?
NWA.
In the beginning. Oh, yeah. Well, that was still a part of this time. This was still during that, like, you know, from the late 70s to the late 80s. You know, this was still a time very much when culturally, you know, this white male rock and roll aesthetic was the dominant thing in music, in movies, and, you know, it was the dominant thing. It no longer is. But yeah, for those of us that can remember that, I get why they're so frustrated. I get why they're so sad and afraid, because they don't have the biggest megaphone in America, culturally speaking, at all anymore.
No, they don't. I think that's really, you know, it's something that they got to deal with on their end, you know, and it's like, because we always been the cool. We've been the cool. We've been the most creative people.
Well,
you know,
we've always been the cool, yeah. I mean, there's something about, you know, oppression, and that will make a people resilient and make a people, you know, use the things that can't be taken away from a person. You know, you may not have access to equal education, housing, transportation. You may be policed differently, but no one can take away your voice, your music, your dance, your literature. Those are the things that just couldn't be taken away, and that flourished. And I would argue, in large part, because of the oppression. So yeah, there's that, and because it was so powerful and joyful and poignant and intelligent and innovative, the whole world, it couldn't be oppressed. The whole world saw the authenticity of the African American experience, which is not a monolith, but the whole world sees the authenticity of this African American culture and experience, and everybody is just drawn to it like a magnet worldwide.
Yeah, it's very attractive. I mean, because ultimately our voices, you know, we've been using our voices for a long time in so many different ways. Like, you know, when you think about how the slaves, they used songs to communicate with each other, you know, because they knew that it would throw off the slave masters, and they would just think they just
and we're still signifying.
Yeah,
to
we're
this
still
day,
doing that.
We're still signifying.
We're still doing that.
Yeah,
you know?
we are.
You know, using song to express how we feel and communicate with each other. You know, whether it be hymns in church or just, you know, just a song to bring change in the world. You know, to influence change in a positive way in the community and stuff like that. I wish hip hop was still that powerful, you know, like it used to be. It is,
but it used to be the dominant, you know, strain of hip hop that was conscious, that was woke, that was, you know, positive, but there was nothing wrong with being clever or sounding intelligent on your rhymes. That was in the late 90s. That was the dominant thing. It still very much exists, but you just have to look for it.
Yeah, is that part. It's not being made very visible, and
it's not popular with the kids. No. I mean, I hate to say that. I mean, that's not fair to say. It's just that when it comes to you know, radio still continues to drive you know, more of popular music than it needs to. But yeah, I think that for kids that are growing up in such rough times, perhaps the tendency is to more want to escape. And for this Gen Z, they're very sort of, man, it's hard to put your finger on Gen Z, because I feel like they're very activists. They're very much activists, but they're also kind of sardonic. They are kind of, I don't know, they're just not preachy in the way they go about things. I don't know that the music of the hip hop of my youth would resonate with them in the same way. You know, I think that because they can put on their phone and see, you know, all the horrors of the world 24/7, maybe they prefer music that they can escape to.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of their music now,
But they're woke. I mean, but they are woke. They just, they just don't make, the woke movement is just not the hip hop that they seem to gravitate to.
Right.
They seem to want to escape. And I mean,
yeah, I think that's really more so what it is, but it also, horribly in such a crazy, heartbreaking way, it becomes some of their reality because they take a lot of that stuff like literally,
They do.
and then they apply it to their lives because sadly, Raquel had some, tragic situation happen here recently. So, did you hear?
I did not.
Well, it was a couple of kids that got involved in a shooting, some teenagers, and unfortunately they died. So it was heartbreaking, but and I have no idea what was the cause of this, but I just know that so much that they're being exposed to through the music and the media and social media and everything, and so much that that's happening constantly that they are just taken in and getting pulled in so many different directions, and they kind of get lost in that. So just pray for the youth, and because it's crazy right now on how social media affects their lives in such a way where it ain't something that could they don't it's not like when we was getting into stuff, it just happened that day and then it was over with.
And it was over with, yeah.
But now, stuff get recorded and then stuff get posted and then it lives forever. And it lives forever.
Yeah.
And they have to relive it and go through that stuff over and over and over again. If they get because people was even talking about this on another podcast that I was listening to on how online bullying is a thing.
It's been since the since the rise of the internet. It's been something that people. I'm way older than the internet, but yeah, it's definitely been something that the last couple of generations, millennials, have had to deal with, and now Gen Z more than ever. And it's a fascinating thing because social media it's difficult to navigate for grown people, let alone young people with developing minds. But culturally, we've just kind of lost sight of how to guide our kids through that. We have our phones and tablets babysitting to some degree, and there's a lot of wonderful things that technology can provide for our kids, but at the end of the day, we just, unfortunately, there's just not enough safeguards on the internet to substitute for parents being involved and active in what's going on. And because I think really at the end of the day, that is what is going to drive it, unless we just unless platforms just don't allow kids on their services, which may be what they need to do. I mean, at this, why does a 10-year-old, I don't think a 10-year-old can sign up for their own Twitter, but, I think the age is 14 for most platforms.
13, 14,
14. But why does a 13-year-old need a Twitter account? Or, you know what I mean? It's just, and I'm not saying I know the answer. I'm not making a judgment about that, but it's, maybe that's where we need to take this, Do our kids need to be on social media platforms? Because clearly adults bully each other and cause harm to one another. And kids, what do you expect them to do? So
because my thing is just you ask that question, you think about it like, I got a kid 13 years old and it's like, hey, I want to get on Instagram and Facebook. I mean, my question is like, why? Like what are you planning on posting and doing? Because I look at like some of my friends, I'm friends with their kids on their accounts, and I see the stuff that they post, and some of that stuff I be seeing, I be wondering like, do their parents
don't know.
Do they know what I'm looking at here? You know what I'm saying? Because they be on there throwing up they look gang signs and stuff they be doing. You know what I'm saying? Part of me feels like, well, maybe I should shoot over the text and be like, hey man, you might want to check your kid's account out. Yeah. You know, I don't know if you're seeing this or whatever. But in this day and time, that can be a thing because you don't want to feel like you're trying to tell somebody what to do with their kids and all of that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a touchy subject in America, but it didn't used to be so much. We used to be able to, it used to be different. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole neighborhood whooped you before you got home when you did something you ain't supposed to do.
But it's not like that anymore.
No, it's not.
So that I think that's what we need to think about, as far as those influences. But just getting back to the basic question of hip hop. Like a lot of in conscious music, I think just like, most anything, there's so much music out there that you just have to go looking for it.
Yeah, you gotta cipher through it. It's out there though. Yeah, you're right.
It's out there. There's a lot of good stuff. Now, take this year's Grammy nominations for Best Rap Album. Incredible stuff. D-Smoke, that Black Habits album.
D-Smoke is a dope artist.
My gosh! And
I got introduced to him through what was that reality show that T.I. and
that
Cardi
Netflix
B,
thing.
The Netflix thing. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was called the rap.
I think that's how he became known to the world. Yeah,
that was my introduction to him.
But Nas, Jay Electronica, King's Disease, Jay Electronica, Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist. I wouldn't call it conscious, but Freddie Gibbs paints a picture of that drug dealer life, that street life, that is, I wouldn't say that doesn't glorify it. That really just tells the hard truths about it. But it exposes it. It's almost kind of like, yeah, bro, you can have that.
Right. Talking about the consequences of it, like instead of just glorifying it, you also talk about what it leads to, and what ultimately happens or whatever. What his name is it Sci-Fi the Prince or Prince Sci-Fi, something like that?
Just because you said it now, I can't come up with it.
I think something like that. Something like that. But he had an album that dropped a few years ago called No Dope on Sundays. Man, this album, I hadn't
heard the whole album.
Yeah, it definitely gives you that. Like, he talks about the good, the bad, the ugly of the whole thing. Kind of giving to you like, yeah, you can get into it. This is some good that can come out of it. Right. But this is some bad.
Yeah.
There's some ugly.
It's a gamble.
You know what I mean?
And it's an ugly gamble. Yeah.
But I know some people probably were like, how you can get something good out of living a dope boy life? But you'll be surprised on how, even though, like, for an example, you look at the movie about Frank Lucas.
That didn't turn out good.
Yeah, it didn't.
But I hear what you're saying.
But there were some things that he taught his brothers outside of the violent life, but he still learned some responsibility and some integrity and some level of respect.
Yeah, it's just degree. I think that the tragedy of that, for every Freddie Gibbs who makes it out of that, or I think it's Sci-Hi the Prince.
Yeah.
Who makes it out, or Pusha T who makes it out. There's so many that don't, and you wonder what a lot of these guys could have been with that talent and determination had they had better opportunities.
Right.
But I think that, it's Grammy season. If you're looking for good rap, if you're looking for good music, period, whatever you think about the Grammys, it's still very influential.
Yeah.
So, but for me, it's a good place to go. Those nominations are a good place to go to listen to music that I may not have heard, and see, what I can get. So to kind of cool the mining of the music there, get some good stuff, some pearls out of there.
Yeah, definitely. You're like right. People do have mixed feelings about the Grammys. You know what I'm saying? Some artists don't even care anything about it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so they say, and it used to be fashionable to say, it's just an honor to be nominated, and I'm just in such great company, or I don't really care about the Grammys. It used to be fashionable to say that.
Yeah.
And but I think in recent years, in recent decades, it's become a little bit more acceptable to say, "Where's my nomination?"
I'm trying to think. Like, was it a Grammy winning acceptance speech from Drake when? I'm not sure if it's a Grammy win, but they cut him off because he started talking about how artists don't need this award. You know what I'm saying?
There was something, I don't know that he was cut off, but listen, Drake has barely uttered a controversial word in his life. I think it's worth saying.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Drake is the most corporate of corporate rappers.
Yeah, he wasn't saying anything controversial. It's just that when he started talking about how he was like telling the artist that you don't need this award to value yourself and things of that nature. You're winning without it.
Yeah, Drake has famously abstained from attending the Grammy Awards. He has famously not come to the Grammys. He can do that. He can do that. The Weeknd, very vocal about not getting nominated for After Hours this year. Great album. Great pop album.
Is that real?
No.
His face?
No, it's a whole, if you keep up with the storyline of the videos and stuff, no.
That's what I was saying, but the internet was just going crazy about like how he messed his face up. But I was like, that don't look real.
No.
It looked like The Mask, like Jim Carrey.
And it was meant to be cartoonishly weird and crazy. But if you watch all his videos, there's a storyline about, which is in much of the Weeknd's music, about that lavish, life. I'm young and I'm rich and I'm black. I'm living in Hollywood and I got all these chicks and I got all the drugs and I got the fast cars and that is a total theme. Like that is the central theme of the Weeknd's music. So getting busted up and having plastic surgery, it just kind of goes with this persona that he portrays on wax and a little bit,
on his records.
And a little bit in real life as well.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just the Weeknd's aesthetic right now.
Yeah, I figured because people were just going crazy thinking it was a real thing. But even the video kind of played off of a scene from The Mask, the movie, when he was dancing in the ballroom with all the, you know what I'm saying? Like that played off a scene out of that movie. So I was like, which is hilarious.
I mean, I did see some blogs talk about it, kind of tease it as if it were real. But I think that was clickbait for people who don't really listen, who don't really know him.
Yeah, overall, it was great marketing. The way it all played out, because he got tons of views off the fact that people thought it was real.
Tons of views that he didn't really need. But he's going to be the Super Bowl halftime show, I believe. Coming up. So that would be, I think it's going to be a great show. I think he has incredible stage presence and he's a great artist. But yeah, does he deserve a Grammy for After Hours? I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I used to really, 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 really care. But as I've gotten older, I just don't. And I think that, in 2020, there was a lot worse things than who got snubbed at the Grammys. So I think, but I understand the young fans who really, really care because, as a young music fan, I cared deeply about, whether or not my favorite artist was recognized by the Recording Academy.
I did too. I promise you I did. And whenever, they didn't win it,
it was just, it was like your team losing the Super Bowl.
Really? Yeah. Really? You looking at the TV? Oh man, but.
So I get it, but
It's kinda,
I don't care.
You felt like that back then or whatever. I mean, but now it's just so like the way music is now, and the fact that to get 1 billion streams now is kind of easy in a sense, a little bit with the major labels pushing or whatever.
And if you're The Weeknd or Taylor Swift or Beyonce for sure.
Because I seen some posts about, of course, Drake been over billions of streams. Then Jadakiss has hit the $1 billion club, and then Jeezy or whatever has hit the $1 billion club. But these
we're talking about extensive catalogs too.
Yeah, both of them. Yes, definitely been relevant, been around. For quite some time or whatever, and it's such a blessing too for artists that has been able to have a sustainable career and be going.
It is, but there's a blueprint for it, and I just feel like a lot of times you just never know.
Right,
but there
right.
is a blueprint, and I think that a lot of times young artists are just not thinking about,
I wonder I'd like to have a conversation with Jay-Z, because he seems like he's the best at doing that. You know what I'm saying? Staying relevant all these years.
Yeah. But I would point you even to people like, people even, long gone people like Miles Davis or Sammy Davis Jr., Tony Bennett, or who's still living, and young artists still want to collaborate with Tony Bennett. Because there's something about having integrity, being authentic to what you do, cultivating your voice, attempting to get better. Alicia Keys will always sell out a stadium or an arena. John Legend will always sell records. Janet Jackson can drop a record tomorrow, and you can argue that she's not, one of the greatest vocalists, and I would probably not disagree with you, but she is one of my top 10 favorite artists. Because there's a certain, trueness to who you are, and a certain integrity that fans recognize, gravitate towards, and will always support you. So I think, and Jay-Z, absolutely, a great example in hip hop, because hip hop is just hitting like that 40 year. Hip hop just turned about 40. And so we're just now getting artists who are in their 40s. Right?
Still making music. So we're just now seeing that in hip hop. But if we look at examples in other genres, certainly like if Patti LaBelle, or Gladys Knight, or Dionne Warwick, dropped an album tomorrow. Right.
There would be a huge audience for it.
Absolutely.
Tina Turner, please, Tina Turner, come back.
But and the fact that they have so much music they can still tour off of right now, and
if
still,
they wanted to.
if they wanted to, I think that's what's really keeping
Diana
them.
Ross.
Diana
Let's give us one more tour. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I think that their extensive catalogs is definitely just one that they could just live off forever, and I'm so glad that hip hop though has gotten to that point where you can be in your 40s and your 50s and still making music and still
because hopefully your audience has come along with you, because the audience is now in their 50s as well. That young audience, that day one audience is now in their 50s, right?
I love to hear the things that Nas and Jay-Z is talking about in their music now. It's like grown man hip hop. It's like grown folk hip hop. It's the kind of content, the kind of stuff that they talking about. It's the type of stuff I want to hear. And some people even my age that leans even more towards like the more modern day hip hop stuff, and they like, I don't listen to Nas and Jay-Z no more. I listen to their old stuff. I don't listen to what they're talking about now. But I'm like, but as a man that you are now, that stuff should be more appealing to you. Because Jay-Z's like 444 album.
Yeah, it's a great album.
Yeah,
it's a great timeless, but it shows the promise of what hip hop can be as it matures. Absolutely.
I love it.
But I think it had wide appeal if people would just listen to it. The music is universal. But there's no doubt that he is unapologetically talking to his peers, right? The people, to his age group, and anybody who wants to listen. But he's unapologetic about talking about, where he is right now.
I love Jeezy's. I love Jeezy's new album. The Recession 2 is a dope project. I think that like you say, that content is out there. You gotta search for it.
For better, for worse.
Get the balance out there, or whatever, because I don't know. It's like with the female rappers and stuff like that. Like I love Rhapsody. I think she has great
Rhapsody
content.
will have longevity.
Yeah, she's
Rhapsody
really dope.
will have longevity because she has a fan base that is always going to support her, and she. We see that integrity, we see that authenticity. There's no gimmick with Rhapsody.
No.
There's just skill, an incredible voice. There's growth. If you've listened to projects over the years, there's a lot of growth there. And that's exciting. That's what's exciting about it. You want to grow with the artists. You want to grow with lyrical content, but you also want to see them grow as artists, technically. And she has done that. She is doing that. So
absolutely, she definitely done that or whatever. I don't know if you did you ever watch that Expeditiously podcast where Young Thug was on it? And then
I didn't. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Because Rhapsody was actually I guess on that episode, on Zoom. She was on the Zoom or whatever.
Okay.
So it was a few times where T.I. was referencing to her, kind of bringing her into the discussion. Yeah. But I just really quick, I just want to talk about the fact that Slim Thug, it was just like he was just like just in total disregard to her. Like he didn't even recognize her and show love and respect to her.
Well, that seems to be Thug's brand at the moment.
Because he was, of course, we know he infamously did the same thing in the interview with the 3000, Andre 3000 situation. But
that was his brand at the moment. He ain't recognizing nobody.
He just went through it. So I was just like, because T.I. asked him, he was like, do you know who Rhapsody is? You ever heard of her?
He may not know. He may not, honestly, know.
He may not, because it ain't like she's a huge artist. Like, everybody don't know her. But
no, everybody does not know her.
But, but to me, I'm thinking Slim Thug, to kind of be where he's at.
Young Thug.
Is it Young Thug?
Yeah, it's Young Thug.
Slim Thug is that's the dude from Texas. Mm-hmm. I like Slim Thug. I like him too. But Young Thug, it's like I don't know. I didn't like that, man. I just felt like he didn't really show her really the respect that she deserved.
I don't know. I would have to go back and watch it. Sometimes when you have somebody on virtually, it's difficult to connect. For that person that may be sitting there to connect, and plus he seemed to have things on his mind. But I have to go back and look at that. But obviously, disrespecting, really skillful rappers was his thing that day. That's what he was on that day.
He was on it for real. What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
But speaking of virtually trying to connect. Versus, I just want to say.
Versus. Versus.
That just looking at it, I didn't watch the entire Versus with Ashanti and Keisha Cole that took place this past week, but I will say that what I did see, there was, it highlighted the difficulty of having people trying to connect virtually and try to create a feeling of a certain energy when you have people, just as you probably experienced I've been in 1,000 Zoom meetings over the past 12 months, and I'm just kind of over it because, after a while you just can't even fake being, connected. Right. But so with that being said, I don't really want to criticize it. I will just say that there was great singing in the face of some technical difficulties on the part of both artists. Mm-hmm. There was love and respect and camaraderie between these ladies. I love the way they kind of introduced their songs and they, would go into it. It was kind of like a couple of girlfriends commiserating over bad relationships. I like that vibe. I like that approach. Mm-hmm. I just think that there was, it would have been great to have them in the same room.
Yeah, it would have been.
I think it would have been better.
I think so. I think it probably would have been better too. But I was in and out, and every time I was, it did really feel like it was really dry in times, and it's just I don't know. Sometimes it didn't feel like they was really, really enjoying themselves like I thought they should have been enjoying themselves, and maybe it was because they wasn't in the same room. Maybe the energy would have been different. I did see one part where it looked like they was about to kind of have a little bit of an argument when
I probably didn't see this part.
I can't remember which one it was, but I think one of them was getting ready to go out of turn and play a song out of turn. I think it was Keisha Cole was getting ready to play a song, and Ashanti was like, "No, you're not, because we on number 10, not 11." And then Keisha was like, "Nah, nigga," what I'm saying? Something she said, and I was like, "Oh, this thing about to go go left, ain't it? But then they kind of got back on track.
Yeah, because what became immediately apparent to me was that they have a rapport. They know each other.
Yeah,
they're cool.
Yeah.
So.
Two homegirls.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just talking what they talk. But it almost seemed like he was about to go to an intense moment. But but they bounced back real quick, so it was all good.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that they still got a good crowd of people that overall I think it was like 4.5 million people that watched.
Wide interest.
Combination.
Yeah,
of all the platforms.
Wide interest in it. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed what I saw. I thought I heard some great singing from both artists.
Yeah, both of them dope vocalists.
Yeah.
Definitely,
It wasn't the
great
runaway
singers.
Keisha moment that a lot of people kind of were saying that it was going to
be a blowout.
Yeah, it wasn't
with Keisha.
that. They're very, very evenly matched, to be honest.
Because you end up hearing songs that you may have forgotten about that Ashanti has.
That always happens, though. That always happens. Yeah.
Because it was another versus I was watching. I think last one. What was the last one? E40 and Too Short.
Yeah.
Was that the last one?
E40 and Too Short.
Because even with that one, I heard some stuff that I forgot about. I forgot about.
They
with
both
those guys.
They both had.
I was like, I forgot about that one. So you get that a lot with verses.
A lot.
So interesting to know. I think Anthony Hamilton and Jaheim is next, I believe.
Oh, that'd be great. I don't know. I actually hadn't even heard. That would be fantastic. I will definitely watch that.
I think it's Anthony Hamilton and Jaheim.
I think that would be that's going to be good for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
I hope that the Hamiltons are somehow involved.
The Hamiltons.
I hope that they let Jaheim I hope he just does his thing.
Yeah.
Because he's been interesting lately.
I hope the internet don't come for him I hope the internet don't come for him because he's definitely changed his look.
Oh, they're coming. They're coming.
They're gonna come for him.
Oh yeah, they're coming. You can't be interesting on the internet like that anymore. You can't. You just can't do it. So, but you know what? As long as he's not overly sensitive about it, as he has seemed to have been in the past, like just don't respond, Jaheim. Just don't respond,
just don't even respond, man.
Don't even
respond or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite R&B singles that I gotta say, y'all should go and follow him on Instagram. He just joined D'Angelo. D'Angelo is on Instagram,
and fantastic.
He looks great. Even though at one point in time he gained a lot of weight,
did he?
He didn't got back. You remember he was really.
I don't remember Fat D'Angelo. I remember Fat Kanye, but I don't remember Fat
Man,
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo blew up. Like he was big. I was like, what happened, man?
Wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, he blew up bad.
Okay, well, he's back.
But he's back. He's on Instagram.
So talented. We need a new album.
That dude talented. It's crazy. His voice, man. His range. I remember, man, when I first heard him, of course, my introduction was Brown Sugar. And man, when I tell you.
Yeah, that was his debut.
Yeah, debut single.
Yeah, nobody heard of him.
Man.
Before that.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And, my homeboy put me on, actually, we was over his house late one night. This was who was recording videos, you know what I'm saying? Like, we put the tape in, record them. And he went back and showed me this joint, man, because back then we weren't really big on R&B like that, because we was all in the rap. We was all about rap, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But he came through with the Brown Sugar, Brown Sugar, baby. That joint right there, I was like, okay, I like that. If I don't like nothing else, I like that.
Well, yeah, and that's very interesting that because D'Angelo was considered one of the pioneers of the neo-soul movement. But the thing about neo-soul was that it was different from what was on the radio at the time in the 90s, because it was very much a sort of a 112 sort of what's that sort of a very hip hop influenced R&B was popular at the time. So when you have D'Angelo and Alicia and Angie Stone and those type of artists come on the scene.
Yeah, Erykah
Badu for sure. What you're hearing is a throwback to sort of a more classic soul with kind of a modern twist.
Yeah.
So I would argue, and because to my ears, I'm a decade older than him, but to my ears, it was like Oh yeah, this is soul music. This is the singer-songwriter soul music that I grew up with. The Marvin Gaye, the Roberta Flack, the those types of artists who wrote their songs and sang them. So it's like soul singer-songwriter. So D'Angelo is definitely one of those artists who is just incredibly influential, and we need some new music from. So Maxwell is another one.
Maxwell.
But he'll give us an album every 5 or 6 years.
That's the cycle, right? Every 5 to 6 years. I guess some artists have to live.
Some artists are more prolific than others. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because they talk a lot about their experiences, their real-time experiences in their music, so you get that kind of content from them. Mm-hmm. So you talk about those kind of singers and the artists like Marvin Gaye that probably paved the way for so many artists
when it comes
to make that kind of music.
When it comes to that independent voice that's stepping out. Marvin Gaye started out just as a crooner. He just started out as somebody who would come to Motown, and he was known for being that suave, singer who had all the ladies. He sang the songs that Motown put in front of him, and he just did his thing for like a decade. And then all of a sudden the 70s, almost 2 decades, the 70s comes along, and he's like, no, I have more to say than that.
Right.
I see what's going on. Get it? You see what I did there? Yeah. I see what's going on, and I have something to say about it. And he started writing, and he started he started collaborating with the studio musicians, and that is what 1971, January 20th, 1971. What's Going On, right, was released, and very much in a time like this one, And I've talked about this on my podcast. Musical Telephone, but I just wanted to. I'm glad you brought that back around to him, because What's Going On has been re-released as a deluxe edition by Motown.
Wow.
A 50th year anniversary, and I'm telling you, if you want to, it's the greatest protest album ever recorded.
I agree.
It is so relevant to what's going on today in terms of our politics, policing, social justice. It's still what's going on. And if you haven't heard it ever, I encourage you to listen to it. If you haven't heard it in a while, it's a great time to listen to it, because it is not it's not depressing. It's not defeating. It is uplifting, and it is alive, and it is, it's a hopeful record at the end of the day, So, so I think it's good that we celebrate that.
Absolutely, we got to celebrate that album. I mean, I got introduced to it by my parents, of course, and listening to it. I listened to it as a kid, and I remember just loving the music, the way it sounded.
It just sounds like nothing else, and it is groundbreaking for that sound, y'all.
It's beautiful music, and then when I went back and listened to it as an adult. And was really able to, understand everything that I'm listening to now on a deeper level, and hearing, and then once I heard the backstory on, how he went against his label and how his label wasn't feeling it.
He had to fight Barry Gordy every step of the way to do that record.
And because of course, he's Let's Get It On and Sexual Healing. Those were his hit records, and then he wanted to come with these conscious political records. And the label, of course, they looking like this could be damaging to your career, but he knew in his heart that this was way more important than that. And I had so much respect for him making that decision to do that kind of record in spite of. And to me, it's just like, not only, the greatest record in that aspect, but to me, it's like you could put that probably way up there on the top of the list as far as one of the best albums of all time.
It's true. And Rolling Stone magazine recently revised their top albums, and it is #1 of all time.
Man,
for Rolling
I was
Stone.
Gonna say #1, but I'm, I just try to keep it up.
What's cool about the Rolling Stone ranking is that it's ranked by artists and journalists and music journalists, and again, you know, Rolling Stone, like the Grammys, is an institution that used to have so much influence. Maybe not so much anymore, but certainly it means something. Knowing their process a little bit, how they came about that, what they were looking for, that what's going on is the number one, according to Rolling Stone, of all time. It's come a long way.
And Rolling Stone. Oh, sorry. I was trying to
go ahead.
And Rolling Stone was actually, they pulled that title from an old jazz singer. What is it, Muddy Waters?
I believe. Well, I don't know that Rolling Stone magazine did. I believe the band. They pulled their from very huge fans of Muddy Waters.
Yeah. But yeah, I just thought about that. I was like, you know, just the history on that I heard. But yeah, I think that definitely what's going on should be.
It's amazing, y'all. It's amazing.
The title number one. So if you haven't heard that album, you've never heard of, I don't know.
You'd be so glad if you go listen to it now. It is more relevant than ever.
Right.
Some of the things that he did in terms of layering the vocals came about by accident, and now everybody does it.
Oh man.
Yeah, and he was just like, no, let's keep that.
Yeah.
You know, that was at a time when that layering multi-tracks was just sort of coming in the way it was just sort of. So technically the album is an amazing achievement. It's got soul,
innovative.
It's super influential on everything that you've heard, particularly in R&B ever since.
Absolutely. You hear a lot of R&B music that patterns their style and vocal arrangements and stuff after that album, and the way Marvin Gaye did it. He has such a beautiful, great voice.
It's just amazing.
Just amazing the way things he's able. I've watched footage of him like behind the scenes and rehearsal, and just the way he's just amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing. But his voice is amazing.
Yes, it is.
Because everything that you hear these days is auto-tuned, whether they can sing or not. It's just
back then you had to sing.
Then you had to sing.
You ain't had no studio magic and no special effects you put on the vocals.
You can clean it up in post. You
had to be able to sing.
Yeah.
So that was dope, man. So yeah, make sure y'all go and check out Marvin Gaye. What's going on?
50th anniversary deluxe edition.
If you never heard it, if you never heard the album, you're gonna be amazed. You're gonna be like, wow, this is really, really nice. So definitely that. Well, people, what we got? I think that's pretty much it.
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I could go on and on. I'd like to know. I'm listening to a lot of music right now.
Okay.
Be interested to know what y'all are listening to.
Yeah.
So, hit us up in the comments. Like, what are you reading right now?
What you reading? What you listening to?
What you listening to? We want to know.
Who you watching? Who you watching?
Yes.
Who you watching and who you listening to?
That's right.
Darkeye and Tiffany, make sure you're watching us. Make sure you're talking about us and sharing it. We should be on your list.
We should be on your list. So comment below what you got, what you're into.
Yeah, what you're into. Yeah. We should probably. I'll tell you what me and Tiffany do. We're gonna share with y'all like our personal playlists and stuff that we listen to or whatever.
Absolutely.
Probably our next show. We'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll do that share with y'all because y'all want.
We did a little bit of it today.
I know y'all want to. We did a little bit. We did a
little bit of it today. So, it's Grammy season, and as I've said, I'm trying to listen to everything that I didn't hear last year that I might have been interested in. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I love new music. And speaking of new music, we definitely want to bring on artists. If you are an artist and if you know anybody that's an artist, tell them to hit us up because we would love to listen to their music and possibly have them on the podcast, all that good stuff or whatever. But your music got to be dope. It got to be ready now because we ain't going to put you out there if you're not ready. And if you're not ready, you know what you can do. You can get at me, connect with me, and I'll get you ready. You know what I mean? I can be, do all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of where you are with it or whatever, please hit us up. We love to have you on the show. Business owners, entrepreneurs as well, all that. You can email us at darkeyetiffanyshow@gmail.com. And we'll get back with you.
Sounds good. I like it.
I love it. So thank y'all so much. You're real ones for watching this show all this time. I don't know how long we've been on, but we've had a great conversation and we thank you for watching all of this. all of this, okay?
So, yeah.
So until next time, people, I am Mr. Darkeye.
And I am Tiffany.
And we will catch y'all next time. We out.
Bye.